Okay fellas, so what we're looking at here is one of the coolest things I've built in a long time. This here is a degreaser tool that I've built for the purpose of cleaning engine parts and things like that without using a solvent. I just got done cleaning a chainsaw I'm working on with this thing, and the thing looks brand new. I built this particular device as a test model to determine whether or not the concept is actually even plausible. The concept being, build a small handheld steam cleaner. Now if you look online at some of the devices that are available for commercial use, they're the size of actual steam cleaners for a house. Some of these things are extremely large units. The only thing that's running this is a small little siphon tank that is charged by an air compressor. Now the air compressor could be very small to run something like this, but I think you guys are going to like what you're going to see in this video. This thing is badass. I am impressed with its performance, and I'm here to tell you there's a lot of room for improvement. A couple of little modifications on this monotube flash boiler could probably double this thing's output. I'm going to be putting a stainless steel cowling over the boiler in hopes of achieving two things. First, to reduce the ejection of waste heat, and secondly, to hopefully reach temperatures hot enough for it to become an emitter, where if it's red hot, the thermal radiation will reflect back onto the exterior surfaces of the flash boiler. So that alone would be one valuable modification. A stainless steel cowling. The reason why I say stainless steel is because it's a very poor conductor of heat and would glow at incandescent levels far easier than a piece of copper or iron. It would also be able to handle those conditions. I would then wrap a small amount of insulation around the exterior. Secondly, I have a discharge port or exhaust port here that I thought maybe needed to enable a extremely intense burn, but I may be losing a lot of heat out that. So if the cowling were to include, or the cowling, excuse me, if the cowling were to include this area as part of the shrouding, we would get somewhat of a backdraft up back towards the user there, which may not be a good thing. If the way it's working now, there is no heat coming back at you. And you see I have an actual rubber tube. That's a gas line. And man, this thing performs pretty awesome. A different burner would probably suit this thing better. Something with a little bit higher capacity. I do have a higher capacity burner that I'm going to be trying. But some of the footage you're going to see is this thing in action, and just me basically testing out whether or not this is even worth the effort. Because I've got a couple of ideas that can improve this thing drastically. Not only in modifying the boiler itself, but in the siphon tank. I would build a bigger siphon tank, and it would be heated to near boiling so that the coil itself is being fed hot water. In the video you're seeing barely warm water being used, and it still performs excellent. I'm so glad I built this thing. Here's the chainsaw drying. The thing looks brand new. I've got some footage of this thing not too long ago, moments ago, of when I was just about to do some work to it. The thing's amazing. We'll see what it looks like before and after. Building it is because I'm doing some work on this chainsaw, and it's just a mess. I noticed one of my oil galleys is not doing anything. You see this lower one just flooded with oil, and the top one isn't doing nothing. So I'm kind of worried about that. So I'm going to take this whole thing apart, and I just wanted to clean it up. Okay, so here it is, fellas. This thing's working pretty good. I'm going to fire it up and try and do this one-handed and see what we get. I'm going to turn this little water valve on to start. That's going to start letting water out of my nozzle here. I'm going to try just that little bit of water right there. Okay, test 2. We have our siphon canister at 120 psi's. We're almost full of water. And we have the superheater ready to roll. So first thing I'm going to do is crack the needle valve. And we're going to start with that flow right there. getting some vapor lock, I would imagine.